The winter sun had barely risen over Bucks County when the first wave of panic began rolling into local police lines. Call after call came from strangers using trembling voices, struggling to put into words what they had just witnessed online. Some said they weren't even sure if what they saw was real. Others cried openly while speaking. But all of them said the same thing: there's a video on YouTube. You need to see it. Something horrible happened. Hours earlier, inside a modest Pennsylvania home, a tragedy had already unfolded. A father and son lived there, though the relationship between them had been fraying for years. Those who knew the Mon family remembered them as private, quiet people, a hardworking father named Michael and his son, Justin, who had grown increasingly isolated over time. Neighbors spoke of tension, of raised voices in the late hours, of long periods where Justin seemed to disappear into himself. The outside world saw a normal house. Behind the closed door, something was coming undone. Michael had always tried to be patient with his son. In family photos he stood tall, smiling gently, resting a steadying hand on Justin's shoulder. To friends, he confided that his son was struggling emotionally, mentally, socially. But he believed, truly believed, that with enough love and consistency, he could reach him. Fathers hold on to hope like that. They cling to it even when others have let go. But on this particular day, something inside Justin fractured beyond repair. No one knows the exact trigger. Maybe it was an argument that spiraled out of control. Maybe it was the weight of years of resentment. Maybe it was the voices online that fed his anger and fed his certainty that he was the one who understood the world correctly, and everyone else was blind. Whatever it was, it ended with Michael losing his life inside his own home. For a moment, the house went completely silent. No shouting. No footsteps. Just the kind of silence that only follows something irreversible. And then Justin moved with a chilling calmness. He recorded a video. He positioned the camera. He spoke in a steady voice, too steady for what had just happened. What he said revealed a mind consumed by delusion, bitterness, and a twisted desire to be heard. He recorded the aftermath without hesitation and uploaded it to YouTube as if it were a message the world needed. The video spread quickly not because millions saw it, but because the few who did were so horrified that they immediately reported it. YouTube moderators rushed to remove it, but the damage was already done. Police were alerted. Digital investigators traced the upload. Patrol cars were dispatched to the Mon residence. When officers arrived, they found a scene they would never forget. The home was quiet, the air still, as if the house itself was holding its breath. Michael was gone. The father who had fought so hard to understand his son had died violently. Blindsided by the one person he spent years trying to save, Justin had fled. Beginning a tense search across Pennsylvania. Police issued alerts, coordinating with neighboring agencies. Every minute mattered. They feared someone capable of killing their own father and calmly posting it online might lash out again. Helicopters scanned rural stretches. Officers moved through wooded areas and gas stations, searching for any sign of him. Hours passed before they found him. When officers approached, Justin didn't run. He didn't shout. He didn't resist. He stood there with the same eerie detachment he showed in the video. Officers handcuffed him while trying to process the reality that they were arresting a man who had turned a private family tragedy into a public spectacle. In the courtroom, the weight of the crime settled like a dark fog. Prosecutors described the events as calmly as they could, but even they struggled to maintain composure. The judge listened intently, looking over at Justin with an expression that wavered between disbelief and sorrow. The gallery, filled with both community members and reporters, sat in stunned silence as the story unfolded piece by piece. Michael's loved ones sat in the front row, their faces pale with grief. They had lost a father, a brother, a friend, and now they were being forced to relive his final moments through legal documents and investigative testimony. It was unbearable, yet they stayed. They needed to witness the process. They needed to see justice being pursued, even if justice could never restore what they had lost. The video itself was never shown in open court. It existed only as evidence, sealed away, acknowledged but not replayed. The legal system refused to give it additional visibility, understanding the pain it would cause. But those who had seen even a frame of it said they would never forget it. They described it as the most disturbing thing they had encountered in their careers. As the trial progressed, experts spoke about Justin's mental state, his isolation, his long descent into fringe beliefs and paranoia. It didn't excuse what he had done, nothing could, but it painted a picture of someone who had slipped through the cracks. Someone who had retreated so far into his mind that reality no longer had a firm grip on him. But at the center of the trial was Michael, the father who deserved so much more than this ending. Friends described him as gentle, patient, soft-spoken. A man who worked long hours but always made time for the people he loved. Someone who tried to create stability in a home where his son increasingly rejected it. The tragedy, everyone agreed, was that Michael had kept trying long after others might have given up. The verdict came down, and Justin was convicted. There would be no freedom, no second chance. The courtroom exhaled with the weight of finality, but not relief. No one walked away feeling victorious. They walked away feeling hollow, shaken by the realization that modern life had collided with darkness in a way no one had been prepared for. Outside the courthouse, community members gathered. Some lit candles. Some prayed. Some simply stood in silence, staring at the ground because they didn't know what else to do. They mourned for a father whose life ended in the most tragic way imaginable. They mourned for a son whose mind had spiraled so far beyond reach. They mourned for a world where crimes like this can become content in the blink of an eye. In the months that followed, the case sparked discussions nationwide about mental health, radicalization, and the dangers of social media platforms that can carry any message to millions within seconds. People were forced to confront an uncomfortable truth, that visibility has become a currency, and some, like Justin, are willing to pay for it with the ultimate price. Today, the Mon home sits quiet. The street where children once rode their bikes feels different, heavier. The tragedy lingers in the air, a reminder of how fragile the line is between family conflict and unthinkable violence. Neighbors still speak of Michael in soft voices, remembering the man he was, the way he laughed, the warmth he carried, the patience he showed. And though his story ended in darkness, the memory of who he was continues, gentle, kind, loving. A father who never stopped trying. A life that deserved so much more.